do you have what it takes? I put that out there because if you thought that question was going to go away when you hit 40 and it didn't, if you thought that question was going to go away when you graduated high school and it didn't, if you thought that question was going to go away when you got married and it didn't. Now I want to say that over your life today, whether you believe it or not, that what God has purposed for you to accomplish is too important for you to leave your issues unconfronted. Sometimes you've got to take a stand for what you know God has called you to do. And sometimes that means standing against what others say, and sometimes that means taking a stand within yourself against yourself.
Those negative influences are choking out and they're limiting your life. Who you choose to surround yourself with, the environment you decide to plant yourself in has the potential to limit you or unlock you.
You are now a composite of everything you've been saying. Change your words and you'll begin to change your life. If you want to become something different, change what you are confessing. Change what you are saying. Words change the atmosphere of your life.
Maybe there's some relatives in your life who tell you why you'll never break that addiction, why you'll never be successful. Listen, these relationships, they may be keeping you from flourishing and becoming all God wants you to be.
Your current situation is not in charge of your future destination. Get your hopes up, start believing, start expecting. Expectation means to live life with an anticipation that I'm believing for more. It's time to raise your expectation. This word expectation, it is the ingredient of faith.
We all go through things that are unfair. People that do us wrong, the company let us go, came down with an illness. It's easy to live with a victim mentality, thinking we're at a disadvantage. We were shortchanged. We can't do anything great. Look at how we were raised. We can't love again. The last person hurt us. We can't live happy. We've been through too much. As long as you accept that you're a victim, you're going to get stuck. You may have been through unfair situations, but don't use it as an excuse to feel sorry for yourself, to give up on life, to not pursue your dreams.
You, friend, are a seed. You are full of potential, full of gifts, full of purpose. But if you plant yourself in unhealthy soil, if the environment and relationships you choose to surround yourself with aren't healthy, or they're filled with compromise and negativity, an environment with limited mindsets telling you what you can't accomplish, pulling you down, then you won't see the growth that you've been designed to experience.
What's most important is just keep focused and allowing yourself to be fueled by your faith. Yes, your faith is a down payment on your future. Focus on your faith, not your problems. Focus on your faith, not your bills. Focus on keeping yourself strong, living yourself and living from the inside out. Because the problems and challenges, they will always be there. Dimples was right when he had that song. If it ain't one thing, it's another. That's absolutely true.
Most people really want their lives to count. We want our lives to matter. We want to feel useful. We want to make a difference. We don't want to waste our lives. Instead, we want our lives to be productive. And you know, the people who are productive are the happiest when they're actually being productive. You're more happy when you are being more productive. Productivity is always about making the most of what you've been given. And this is true not just of people, but also businesses and organizations, even nations.
If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. I'm not creating my own future. I'm just enduring the future that comes to me. But the moment that I become intentional, the moment that I say, I have a choice, I can make a difference, I don't have to become a victim, the moment that happens within my life, I begin to create a better future for me. So the question is, do I wait for good things to happen, or do I work for good things to happen, which means I'm intentionally taking action to do my very best to make the best out of something that isn't so hot? I hope that you no longer wait for good things to happen for you and to you. I hope you begin to intentionally work to make them happen.
See, a lot of people are caught up in the distractions. A lot of people spend all kind of TV time and internet time watching old fights and sporting events. But this is no time to be a fan. This is no time to be a spectator. Listen to me. Listen to me. You have something special. You have greatness in you. But most people don't take the time to focus, to put in the effort and the time to develop that greatness, to discover that greatness. And if you don't focus, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't work it, it doesn't work if you don't work it.
You see, there's definitely a time to focus on self-development, focusing on you, checking your attitude, checking your dreams, your plans. Self-development is critical. But may I propose another focus? Something that's key to you reaching your full potential? That's soil development. That means assessing your environment. It means assessing your relationships. Friend, you need to be selective right now with whom you give your time, energy, and attention to. Your potential, your dreams, they're real, but it may not be able to be realized in the limited environment that you're in right now.
And if you have this kind of mindset, there are things that God is going to do through you, for you, as you. And have this mindset. Even if you don't have two pennies to rub together, have this mindset. Even if you're going through foreclosure, I've been through that. All that, it doesn't mean anything. What matters most, not what happens to you, but what happens in you. Do what you have to do to reach your goal, to reach your dream, to change your life. Do what you have to do.
Listen to me. Most people give up when they're tired, but a disciplined person gives up when they're done. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your outcomes. Either suffer the price of discipline or suffer the price of regret. Inspiration gets you going, but it's discipline that keeps you growing.
Lay a disciplinary structure on yourself. Get the chaos in check, and then you can move towards a state that's freer. It's discipline first. Like, look, if you're going to become a concert pianist, there's going to be several thousand hours of extraordinarily disciplined practice. That's the imposition of order on your potential, let's say. But what comes out of that is a much grander freedom.
What is preventing most people from moving in the direction that they want to move is a lack of discipline. And no one wants to hear that answer. It's the harshest answer. Yeah. It's not cool. It's not good clickbait. Because the reason it's not good clickbait is because, well, you can put this as clickbait, the one reason most people don't succeed, right? But then as soon as you click on that clickbait and then it says discipline, they don't even read it because they don't want to hear it. Because what they actually, when they see that word discipline, it's actually a slap in the face because they know it's true, right? If you want to make progress in your life, you got to have discipline. Mm-hmm. That's how you get there. Discipline is the root of all good qualities.
Change is inevitable. So here's what's going to happen. No matter what's going on in your life, it's not permanent. Everything is going to change. So there's two things you can do with change. You can react to it or you can participate in it. So if you keep waiting around, you're going to have to react to the change. And now you're behind. But if you participate in the change, if you know the job you have is not going to last forever. I'm just telling you, COVID proved that already. So what you got to start doing is you got to start anticipating that it's going to change and just start living your life with the preparation for change. No matter what you're doing, you could be doing more. Remember that. It's 24 hours in a day. You got to use as many of those hours to prepare stability for yourself as you can. If you have any dreams of being rich, you cannot sleep 8 hours a day. It's only 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 8 hours, that's a third of your life. How can you cannot be asleep a third of your life and become successful. You can't.
You know, we kind of have this idea that you have a certain delightful, wonderful, positive freedom as a child, and then that's given up as you approach adulthood. But the truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined. And discipline is a matter of the imposition of order, and the order is necessary, especially for people who are hopeless and nihilistic. And lots of people are hopeless and nihilistic. Way more people than you think. And part of that is because no one's ever really encouraged them.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. So the key to your life is finding a vision that imposes discipline on you.
Now, one thing I want to straighten out, big time. Discipline is not punishment. It's not. Discipline is training. That's all it is. If you change your mind, your mindset, and really focus it on what discipline really is, you start to welcome discipline. You welcome self-discipline into your life.
Here's the clue. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. The objective of life is not to rest. The objective of life is to act. Think of more disciplines. Think of more ways and means in which to use your own wisdom and your own philosophy, and use your own attitude, your own faith, your own courage, your own commitment, your own desires, your own excitement. Invest it in discipline so that it's not wasted. The smallest of discipline. Thereby transform your life. Join the 5%, join the 10%, join the 3%.
If you don't do that, if you get up and you just have no discipline whatsoever, you get no value in anything. Your diets don't work when you don't do them. Exercise doesn't work when you don't do them. But most of the people have some experiences that they want to shift. And once you shift those things, your whole life changes. But life is constant growth. My life isn't here because I went to one seminar one time and now my life is fit for life. I work out, I train my mind, I train my body, and it becomes a lifestyle.
I do think that and it's not just in sport, but with other things, I do believe that the more you repeat certain things, whether it is writing, working on your, whether it's cursive letters or whatever it is, like when you work on something and you keep doing it over and over, it's inevitable that it will get better. And by that, you're creating this feeling of repetition, which leads to discipline. Like, you can do it over and over again.
If discipline comes from somewhere else, it's very, very hard to remain consistent because you tend to resist. It's wild because I see trainers and they're in the gym with people and the guy or girl that they're working out hates their workout, hates it, because the discipline is coming from somewhere else. It's something that you dread every time you go in. You don't really want to do it. It's like, but oh no, my trainer's here. He's about to, beat me up and make me feel crazy. Well, the truth is, every trainer should work his way out of your life. So you can go ahead, do your own workout, do your own thing, practice self-discipline.
Resilience is very different than being numb. Resilience means you experience, you feel, you fail, you hurt, but you keep going. When we are hit by a crisis, people that just kind of go numb, which basically means that I feel nothing, I'm not learning, I'm kind of like not even living, and that makes us a victim. When we go through the crisis, we don't go for numbness, we go for resilience, and resilience is alive, it is learning, and what happens is resilience makes us victorious. It's that resilience and remembering that you put in your heart, you store it in your heart. So the next time you have an obstacle, a difficulty, an adversity in your life, that resilience remembers. Don't allow the crisis to numb you. Be alive, learn, feel, fail, learn. That's what it's all about if you want to make this difficult time a good time.
Motivation doesn't get anything done. Motivation gets you going. Discipline, commitment, strong habits is what gets things done. Motivation is just a feeling. Grounded action is what gets things done. So here's my invitation to you. The next time you feel motivated, don't do anything grand and exciting or set any lofty expectations for yourself to like stay that way or whatever the case may be. Get a pad and paper and write down 1 or 2 things that you're going to commit to doing every single day, no matter what. You're gonna use that motivation to build a machine for yourself.
No matter how pessimistic, no matter how negative it looks today, you're going to come back. It's a time of the comeback. It's time to get up off the mat. If you've been knocked down, if you've been through something, if you've been through financial setback or some kind of terrible thing has hit you in your health or something's happened to your family, we need to believe that it's time for a comeback. It's no time to quit. It's no time to give up. It's no time to moan and groan. It's a time of the comeback.
There's a war going on. Good versus evil. Light against darkness. Truth against lies. I'm talking about the war in your head.
There's enough in my past to be ashamed of. Some decisions I wish I hadn't made. Some stuff I wish I could go back and fix. Some things I wish I could unsay. Some words I wish I could put back in my mouth. Some actions I wish I had never taken, but they're in my past. And I'm not going to let you hold up my past as a mirror when God wants me to use it as a window.
When the enemy puts you under pressure, he thinks that's going to stop you. What he doesn't realize is all that's going to do is cause you to shoot out further. When you feel restricted, don't be discouraged. Get ready to shoot out. Get ready for new levels. That pressure is not going to stop you. It's going to increase you.
My past is not to be held up as a mirror to remind me of what I used to be, but it's a window for me to look back through and say, I ain't going back that way no more.
Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Maybe you're in a situation right now, you're like, I hate where I am. The problem in my life is where I am. I hate my relationships. I hate the way I feel. I hate where I am. And what begins to happen to us is we start to think the problem is where we are. But your problem is not where you are. Your problem is where are you headed?
The truth is, we grow in the difficult times. That's when our character is developed. That's when we discover talent, confidence, courage that we didn't even know we had.
Trying to encourage you tonight that every gap in my life is giving me hope that I am still becoming, that I am not done growing yet, that the story is not over. Anybody thankful that you haven't stopped growing? But this year, it doesn't have to look like last year. You can become more.
But you have to do something important. Forgive yourself. Quit dwelling on everything you've done wrong. Quit replaying your failures. Quit reliving your mistakes.
Devote yourself to something bigger. Be decisive about what you're going to do. Say, I'm going to do it, and that's it. And then be disciplined about getting it done every single day, whether you feel like it or not.
It works if you work it. Decide that you're going to start working on that dream. Now, there will be people that will criticize you. There will be people that won't see it for you. But I say to you, don't let them turn you around. Don't let nobody turn you around. That's key, because people will try and turn you around. That's real.
Every hero you guys had was called an idiot, crazy, a loser. You must break society's status quo. Status quo is normality. It's alive but not living. It's death on a stick, guys. The belief of the individual can overcome thousands of followers. One person with a belief overrides thousands of people with just intent.
You can actually change the direction of your life. Life is not designed where you just wake up and see how it go and you react. You actually have a say-so. You have a determining voice into where your life can go. See, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you, but you need dirt on you to develop, because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something.
Safety, comfort zones are dead zones because your true potential will never be matched, guys.
See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You got to have dirt on you to grow into what God got for you. Quit tripping.
Every day is a new day, a new week, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. Today, I'm taking scalps. I'm putting the pressure on. I am the aggressor. I am on the attack. Because I will not stop.
Where the mind goes, the man follows. If you don't like your life, go home, have a meeting with yourself, and think about what you have been thinking about. Instead of blaming it on everything else, have a meeting with yourself and just ask yourself if it's time for you to get rid of your stinking thinking. Amen.
Life goes on. You have to keep living. Life goes on. I've watched people allow a failure in their life, then produce fear in them. Fear is not just an emotion. Fear is a spirit. When a person has a spirit of fear, they're scared of everything. They're scared of the dark. They're scared to be alone. They just have unreasonable, ungrounded fears. That spirit of fear will paralyze your life. It'll stop your movement, and you're designed to keep it moving.
Be ready for tomorrow by doing all that you can today. Set a goal that will make you stretch for what it will make of you to achieve it. What an all-encompassing challenge to have a better vision of the future, to see what it will make of you to achieve it. The greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. So there you have the two components of positive self-direction. Self-knowledge, knowing who you are and what you want to do with your life. And number two, self-preparation, getting ready for the opportunities before they come your way. Being ready, being worthy, becoming the person you need to be in pursuit of what you want.
Do as much planning as you can. Dig in and plan every detail that you can plan. The most important part of a plan, the thing that makes a plan the most effective, is its flexibility. And making a plan that is so flexible that when you do the actual operation and you come up against unexpected things, which are absolutely going to happen, you have the flexibility, you have options, you have contingency plans to deal with.
Most people, in order to feel significant, make things really complex so they feel like they're really unique and special. But complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the more likely you are not going to follow through.
So plan as much as you can, but the problem is, with all that emphasis on planning, sometimes people become obsessed with planning and they don't want to execute. And if they do execute, they execute late. They miss their opportunity. That's why Patton said a good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Come up with a good plan. Don't come up with a perfect plan that takes you 2 weeks to come up with. That's not going to help you.
It's you first. It starts with you, and it starts with your psychology. 80% of growing a business, if you look at what the chokehold is on a business, it's always the leader. And 80% of that chokehold is the psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. I mean, people in this room know the mechanics and strategies beyond what anybody on earth knows in their category. So it's really about you being in the state where you execute. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week. And so my life is, how do you get yourself to execute? And execution comes from learning to put yourself in that right state every day.
Where you have so much joy, you bring joy everywhere you go. You have so many resources that you can help those around you. You may not have seen this yet, but God is about to do a new thing. You need to get ready. Overflow is coming. You're going to overflow with creativity, with ideas, with talent. Overflow with influence, promotion, resources, where you can come out of debt, where you can lend and not have to borrow. Things may not be flowing in your life right now, but God knows where all the treasures are. He knows how to put you at the right place at the right time. He knows not only what you need, but He knows when you're going to need it. Don't discount small opportunities, small gifts, small income. May seem small to you, but God knows how to multiply.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrificing and never get the candy? Or are you gonna get something for your pain? Are you gonna get something for your effort? Are you gonna get something for this sacrifice you're making? You gotta get something for this pain. You gotta stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's gonna be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
What force has the greatest influence on us? It is the freedom to choose.
What changes our whole life is action. Why don't we take action? Fear. What do we got to do to get ourselves to do it? We got to make sure that we push ourselves through it by making a decision. The point in which change happens is a decision. People go, what does it take to change? Decide. You go, oh, God, sounds so simple and so basic. It was that easy, you'd already done it, Mr. Robbins. No, it is that easy and you're still not doing it because you are not putting yourself in a state to decide. See, a real decision is not like a preference. It's not like where you say, I'll try it and see. That's not a decision. Decision comes from Latin. It means like incision, to cut off from. Decision is when you cut off any possibility except the thing you're committed to. It's like, that is it. All change happens with a choice. You want to change your body? Change it by making a decision. I know it sounds overly simplistic. I know it's 100 times harder than that, but that's where it happens.
People shit all over themselves. I should fall through. I should spend time with my kids. I should do this thing at work. Shooting doesn't change it. When it's a must, human beings find the way. It's a must when you say, I'm burning the boats. I'm talking about a real decision where you will not go back. You want to take the island? Burn the frickin' boats.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed, it needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
The biggest poison in us is regret.
Bad decisions, hasty decisions, too fast, and affects the next 20 years of your life because you made the wrong decision. What makes us make these fast decisions? Fear?
Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now.
Most of us who are human have to deal with regret from time to time. I'm sure you can agree. Maybe regret because of a poor decision we made. You know, things that I wish I had done differently in my life or in my ministry.
Of course, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve on the first try by doing it again? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No, let it teach you. Let it make you better.
It doesn't matter to me any longer how long I live. What matters to me most is how I live. Every day, ask yourself that question, how you living? That if you're gonna do something, you do it the right way. That it's never wrong to do the right thing. That how you do anything is how you do everything.
If you ask people what they regret, especially as they get older, what they generally report is things not done. So they don't regret so much mistakes they've made, although of course people obviously regret mistakes they've made as well. So they don't exactly regret sins of commission, right? Errors that they've actively made. They torment themselves for opportunities that had presented themselves that they did not, let's say, exploit or engage in.
The regret we feel for things that we've done, though intense, only lasts a short period of time. But the regret that we feel for things that we missed out on, that can extend throughout a lifetime. Because most of us are scared, and we choose to lead an easy life. We choose to take the safe path. And by doing so, we start to rack up those regrets. But there is a solution. You have to be willing to be bold.
Bad decisions, hasty decisions, too fast, and affects the next 20 years of your life because you made the wrong decision. If you'd have just waited, got all your information together, settled yourself, you'd have been better. What makes us make these fast decisions? Fear?
It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. So, learn and move on.
Goals are major to a genuinely success-oriented person. Without them, you're just playing around. The difference between a goal-directed individual and someone without goals is like the difference between a Wimbledon champion and a kid batting a tennis ball around on a court with no net, no opponent to bring out the best in him, and no way of keeping score. Despite everything that's been written about the importance of goal setting, very few people actually put it into practice. It's always amazed me the way the average guy puts more thought and effort into planning his 2-week vacation than he devotes to planning his life. What's he taking a vacation from? He hasn't really decided what he's trying to do in life, but for 2 weeks out of the year, he just decides he wants to do something else. And this is what he plans very carefully. Challenge creates strong character, and goals represent challenge in its most positive form. Leaders have their personal goals clearly in focus, as well as the goals of the organization. In fact, one of the principal responsibilities of leadership is defining goals for the vast majority of people who aren't able to do it for themselves.
Be the best. Lifelong personal development and the commitment to personal excellence requires tremendous dedication, discipline, and willpower. It is often the case that we know what we need to do, but we lack the courage to take the risks that accompany trying anything new. Instead, we make excuses for inaction.
The great thing about excuses is that no matter what happens, excuses are always there waiting to be used. Anybody can have an excuse for absolutely anything, but the downside of excuses is that nobody really believes them. If you make excuses, they're going to know it, and they're going to think less of you. But if you refuse to rely on excuses, people are going to know that too, and they'll admire you for it.
You need large amounts of self-discipline to deal courageously with all the fear-inducing events of your life. Courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. Often, fear is necessary to preserve life, prevent injury, and guard against financial mistakes.
As you might imagine, I don't think we should spend a lot of time regretting the choices we've made in the past. To spend time brooding over how things went, that's an illusion. What you're doing is suffering pointlessly in the present under the shadow of certain memories. You're telling yourself a story about something that might have been over and over again. How long do you want to do that for?
And sometimes life is going to knock you down, but because you have been knocked down don't mean that you are finished. No, you knocked down, but not knocked out. No. You got some reasons. It might be your own sense of pride and determination in the kind of life that you want to create.
So, if everyone is afraid, what is the difference between the brave person and the coward? The brave person disciplines himself to confront, deal with, and act in spite of the fear. In contrast, the coward allows himself to be dominated and controlled by the fear. The difference between the hero and the coward is that the hero sticks in there 5 minutes longer. No one is born with fears. Fears can therefore be unlearned by practicing self-discipline repeatedly with regard to fear until it goes away. The most common fears that we experience, which often sabotage all hopes for success, are the fears of failure, poverty, and loss of money. These fears cause people to avoid risk of any kind and to reject opportunity when it's presented to them.
Over the years, I've developed some ideas about effective goal setting, and I'd like to share those with you in a moment. When I was a kid, I used to dream what it would be like to buy a ticket on a railroad train and just go someplace. I really didn't think about where I'd be going or how long it would take to get there. I just loved the idea of getting on the train and just letting it take me someplace. I guess there's still something appealing about that idea, but it's not really the way you want to live your life as a mature human being. When you grow up, you buy a ticket on a train or a plane because you want to go someplace, and you know exactly where you're going. You may have to change planes in a different city, your flight may be canceled, and you may have to switch to another flight. You may not feel like talking to the person seated next to you, but you will persist. You know where you're headed, and you're quite determined to get there. That's goal-directed behavior in its simplest form. There are short-term goals and long-term goals. Long-term goals are the equivalent of a major journey. When you reach the point where you've achieved your long-term goals, your life will be fundamentally changed, and the process of getting to that point will transform you into a stronger, wiser, higher-performing person than you are now. How can you identify your long-term goals? On a sheet of paper or in a notebook, write these 5 headings. Number 1, what do I want to do? Number 2, what do I want to be? Number 3, what do I want to see? Number 4, what do I want to have? And number 5, where do I want to go? Now, under each of these categories, write down several possible long-term goals. Be very relaxed about this. Just allow your mind to flow and come up with 3 to 6 ideas for each category. Don't worry about a lot of details at this point, and don't spend too much time describing a particular goal. In category number 1, for example, what do I want to do? Suppose you want to write a book about the history of your family, going back to the arrival of your great-grandparents in the United States. Just quickly jot down family history. Then as you look down the list of categories, it occurs to you that you've always wanted to see the pyramids in Egypt. So you write pyramids. Keep writing down ideas as long as the list of categories continues to inspire you. You'll probably be surprised at some of the things that turn up. You may have kept a great many desires and aspirations hidden in the back of your mind, but the opportunity to write them down will move them to the forefront of your consciousness. That's one of the benefits of this technique. When you're satisfied with your list of long-term goals, read through the list once again. Then, beside each item, write the number of years that you believe it will take you to achieve that particular goal.
You should always make decisions with your heart and soul. You can use your brain for math. You can use your brain to look at the fine print in a contract, but when it comes to the actual feel of the decision, you always want to go inward and check it against your heart and soul. Here's the simple test. Does the decision that you're about to make expand you, expand your future, or expand the possibilities of your life? If the answer is yes, then the decision is yes, no matter how terrifying it is.
Here are some action exercises that you can do. Make a decision today to invest in yourself and getting better, as if your future depends on it, because it does. Identify the most important skills you have that determine the quality and quantity of results you get at your work, and make a plan to get better in each one. Set excellent performance in your work as a goal, and then determine exactly what you will need to do every day to join the top 20% or better in your field. Look ahead 3 to 5 years and determine the new knowledge and skills you will need in order to lead your field in the future. Then start acquiring them today. If you could wave a magic wand and become absolutely excellent, which one skill would have the greatest impact on your earning ability? Whatever your answer, set that skill as a goal, make a plan, and work on it every day. Commit yourself today to lifelong learning and never let a day go by without getting better in some area.
For example, you may estimate that it will take you 10 years to research and write the book on your family history. But you'll need only 5 years to get yourself into a position where you can take a trip to the pyramids. Create a time frame like this for every one of your long-term goals. Immediate goals, those that will take less than a year to achieve, are important too, of course, and we'll deal with those separately in a moment. When you're finished entering your time frames, there should be a fairly balanced distribution of all your goals. If there are many 1- and 3-year objectives, but only a few in the 10-year category, maybe you need to think more about what you really want your life to add up to. What kind of life you really want to build over the long run. But if there's a preponderance of 10-year goals, and relatively few of the shorter-term variety, This may be an indication that you're putting things off, that you're focused too much on where you'll be at the end of the day and not enough on what you can accomplish right now. Keep working on your list, adding and subtracting goals with various time frames until you've created a more or less even distribution. Now comes the really challenging and interesting part. So far, you've just been adding things to the list, but now it's time to start making some selections. Now you're going to start asking yourself, what's really important compared to what might just be sort of fun? Choose 4 goals from each of the 4 time frames, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year. Now you have 16 separate goals. So far, you've only referred to them in shorthand fashion, but now you're going to start seeing them very, very clearly in your mind's eye. You're going to see each goal just as if it were being realized this very minute. And you're going to write down a detailed description of exactly what you see. Do you intend to open a handmade furniture store in 3 years? What will the store look like from the street out front? Will there be gold leaf lettering on the windows? Or will there be a sign hanging over the door instead? How many square feet will the store contain? Will there be a showroom area for the furniture in front and a workspace in back? Or will the furniture be built at a different location? Do you intend to have any employees, or will you run the business entirely by yourself? Think of all the questions that need to be answered in order to see your goal with absolute clarity. Review what you've written at times, and keep track of your progress toward these objectives. Above all, persevere. Goal setting is a very important first step, but goal achievement is a continuous, lifelong process. That's what makes it so challenging. That's also why it's so extremely rewarding to finally attain your long-term goals. With regard to immediate goals, those that require anywhere from a day to a year to achieve, I recommend creating lots of objectives that can be accomplished in a month or less. Write them down. Read what you've written at frequent intervals. Keep track of your progress. And do something often that brings you closer to realizing these very short-term objectives. That way, you'll always have something to celebrate. These goals are not only important in their own right, they're also confidence builders and motivators toward a lifestyle based on perseverance and achievement.